Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Hello, Brogan, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hi, Boiling Frog, how you doing today? Hello, Sangi Tipal. Welcome to the live. Thank you for the like. Just been feeling a bit exhausted in this weather, but it's supposed to be like not that hot now, but I think it's this room that I'm on the top floor and it's just gets exhausting. It's like in the here right now, it's like what? 24.5 degrees, which is still a bit hot really. But it was actually like almost 30 the other day inside. But I could probably make it a bit cooler than that if I opened the windows more, but I don't really like doing that. So anyway, is everybody alright? I hope you're all well. Smash that like button. We've got 13 people in the house, we've got 4 likes. So yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. I didn't come on that much yesterday. I wasn't really feeling like coming on in the evening. I was going to come back on, but Justin Tyler, it's okay, thank you. How's your day going? Welcome to the live stream. I don't know, Robinson. Hello, Wishmaster. How you doing? Hope you're well today. Thank you all for joining me. Nice to have you all in the live. Oh, really, Brogan? iOS, weather, iPad. How you doing? Steve Ellis, how you doing? Good day, mate. Yeah, I'm not Aussie, I'm British. 6'4", roughly. Yeah, people seem to somehow guess that I'm tall for some reason, even though they don't actually see me. I guess it's just like people can sometimes tell with like shoulder width and things like that, but yeah, it's kind of just overcast, but it's like, well, there's some sun coming through actually. Yeah, we're supposed to get some like sunny spells and stuff. But yeah. Okay, thank you, Ishan. Okay. Well, I suppose, yeah, you could do that, Jake. Yeah, I'm probably like, what, almost up to the... Well, obviously I've got slippers on, but you can see that I'm not far off this. I believe this is probably around 6'6". Usually they put the indoors at. I'm probably about, without my, let's just see, without my slippers on, we're not that far off. We're only like, probably like 2 inches off, if that. Probably like 1.5 to 2 inches off the top of the, anyway, the door or something, yeah. Okay, Sultan. Whatever. I don't know, Jasper, I don't own any animals. I guess the pros and cons would be, well, the pros would be, I guess, company. They don't answer back to you. They can sort of like cats, they're said to be a bit like therapeutic with like the pairing and stuff. But there's a lot of downsides as well. Obviously, there's a lot of it's kind of liability. There's a lot of costs that like insurance and things like that. You got to feed. There's a lot of different costs to. You know, if you want to go away somewhere, it's a bit tricky because you either have to put them in a kennel, which is not really the best, or you have to find someone to look after it, which can end up costing quite a lot of money. So there's a lot of downsides to it as well. But yeah, Daniel, how you doing? Well, it's just like slippers, whatever. It's just so I don't like end up wearing my friggin' socks away really quickly, because they're just kind of like comfortable to wear around the house, you know. Hi Advanced, how you doing? What you saying? Nothing, because I'm not doing that. Joel, how you doing? Smart Bunny, how you doing? Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. What's that? What are you on about, the benefits, I mean the pros and cons of pets or something? Hi George William, how you doing? There's some that, like, I suppose, like fish, but then they're not probably the best company, but I guess they're more just for like aesthetics, really, like, you know, just have like a fish tank and just, I think my mum used to have one. Remember we used to have a goldfish. I think there was a goldfish and there was like a black one as well. Is everybody alright today then? If God gave you a chance to be reborn, would you want to be reborn? I don't know really. Probably some part of me wishes I was born sometime in the past when things were a bit different, but I don't know. But do you mean as in like a place to be born? Like, no, I'm British. Mad Moose. Why do so many people think I'm Australian? What's going on? Grayson, how you doing? I hope you're well. 13,000 subs, Grogan. But I want to get to like, you know, millions of subs one day. Hello, Kaylin. Hope you're well today. Hello. What's this? Friggin' idiot. Anyway, is everybody alright then? I was born in the 60s, grew up in 70s, better times. Yeah, a lot of people have said that, you know, that times were better in the 60s and 70s, and then there was a slow decline with how things progressed, you know, especially when it got to the point of like social media and all that. But some argued that things were already declining long before then. Oh, really, Broken? What do you do? I'm doing fine, thank you, Kaylin. How are you doing? Hello, DC. Sorry, what was your question? Sorry if I missed anything. What are you saying? Oh, communism. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, the thing with communism is if it means like a lack of individual rights, then I can't get behind it. But I remember someone was saying that they were basically like a communist, but I wouldn't get behind that, because it's, you know, like, because it takes away individual liberty, from what I understand it anyway. I was born in 1978 and grew up in the 80s and became a teen and a young adult in the 90s, also for better times. Yeah, a lot of people have said about that, you know, with, like, before we had all these dating apps, before we had all the social media, all the constant comparison, and, you know, I think these are arguably a lot more fun. Hello, Little Smoke. Really? So what would you say is good about communism then? Like, I'm just like wondering, because like I try to keep an open mind, but from what I understand is that it would take away individual freedom for the greater good. That's the whole kind of, you know, the ideology of the whole thing of, you know, like, the greater good. Hello, Layla, how you doing? Hope you well. Millie World, how you doing? Oh yeah, the gulags. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. Communism where everyone is equally poor. Yeah. Well, this is the thing of like, the thing of it, there's this thing called tall poppy syndrome, right? Where if someone tries to like, be successful and stuff, then oftentimes people would try to cut you down because you'll be like, oh, you're so like selfish or whatever, and you're so consumed by money and whatever. It's like, now I don't necessarily think that someone should be getting crazy rich, but even when someone is making like a decent income, they suddenly start to think you're some greedy guy or whatever. There's just all they're interested in is money, but because they see it as like that anybody that is like an entrepreneur or something is greedy, and that they are the reason why they're poor, even though they have no reason. There's not any reason why they're poor. The reason why they're poor is because they don't actually take the responsibility to actually get themselves out of that. Nick Vlogs, how you doing? I hope you're well today. What's that 2A? What do you mean 2A? Don't know what you mean. Thank you for the likes, everyone. But yeah, like we should be trying to encourage, sort of people to, climb up the ladder, if you will. But problem is this system doesn't like support that really. It just supports corporate. So this is where I could agree with like the left and like the socialists, the communists on that part of things, that yeah, the system isn't helping people but their solutions I do not agree with, in terms of just because I think everyone would probably not be very prosperous and we would probably end up with stagnation, but that's my opinion anyway. But you can disagree with that if you want. But Lonely Girl, I mean, sometimes I'm just talking something serious. I don't need to be smiling all the time, do I? Hi Tiger, how you doing? I hope you're well. Shawnee, yeah, good to see you. Thank you. Communism still has an elite class, but the middle classes are eliminated. It also doesn't make sense theoretically because the central planners' bureaucracy still set production quotas. So what you're saying is that basically that this idea of a classless society would just be a lot of bullshit then, because then there is no classless society then. You could argue that it would have to be like straight up anarchism, because if there's a government that is ruling over everything, then therefore because I was kind of debating about this with somebody that, like I said, this guy who's pretty much a communist, and I actually kind of got him kind of stumped there when I brought this thing up about how, isn't that a contradiction if we have a state that is, able to like, basically make decisions for us and has authority over us, then therefore it isn't a stateless, classless society like what the communist ideals are. So therefore, I would argue that isn't really true communism, then, is it? But can there ever be true communism? That's the thing. And is it practical? Hello, Danny Reynolds. How you doing? Did you see the lightning 2 nights ago? I didn't see the lightning, but there was some thunderstorms yesterday morning. Did hear some thunder. Summertime, how you doing? Definitely Frog, I remember, oh yeah, all those bands, yeah, they were like 90s grunge and all that, Yeah. Yeah, what's the other one? Soundgarden as well, you forgot to mention them, but yeah, they're all that sort of like grunge era, but some argue that bands like Pearl Jam were not really grunge and they just kind of got lumped in with that whole movement, but it's not working class paradise, the workers still have bosses. Yeah, well, it's like, would they communism. If that's the case, then therefore there is no, classless society then, is there? Because you have elite classes and then you've got the poor class. So you can argue that it's communism in name only, that this idea of, well, it could be communism but by a different definition or something. What do we actually mean with communism? But the idea of that they try and push that there will be no state and no class, that everyone's equal, then therefore that would be bullshit. So yeah. What do you mean, little smoke? What are you talking about? 2A, I don't know what you're on about, but I don't really play video games anymore now. I used to play video games as a kid, but hello, Hope. Bugdell, how you doing today? I hope you're well. Alice in Chains came from Seattle about that time. Yeah, Alice in Chains, yeah. Yeah, all those bands. I think, what was it? They mentioned Stone Temple Pilots as well. But they kind of came a little bit later, I think. But I heard that the first true, grunge band was well, there's arguments about who was really the first, but one of the first ones was a band called Green River, which was, I think that one of the people then founded a band called Mudhoney, which you might not, I don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, Green River came way before, they kind of started around the same time as Soundgarden, but Soundgarden didn't get big until the 90s. Hello, crazy boy, how you doing? But the grunge scene was kind of underground in the 80s. Until then, kind of bands like Nirvana with their album Nevermind. You also had albums like stuff like Alice in Chains with their first couple of records. And what else was there? Obviously Pearl Jam. Again, early 90s. That was peak grunge, really. But no, Simon says I'm from the UK. Crazy boy, where are you from? Offspring was a fake punk band from what I've seen. That they're not even real punks. They're just a bunch of corporate types who, whatever you call them. Well, not corporate type, but you know what I mean. They're all a bunch of not corporate, but you know what I mean. They're the opposite of punk, as in I think they were studying for some kind of degree or something like that, and they were kind of there was this double life of they're kind of playing as a grunge thing, but they're actually all just secretly not even secretly, it's when you look at it that they were mainly just wanting money. They wanted to get rich, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to get rich and all that, but it's just that the way that they seem to kind of just infiltrate, well, it's not infiltrate, but they would kind of just exploit that kind of movement, whether punk, whatever, to seem like there's some kind of, they're not DIY, they're not they don't have any of the kind of they don't have any of those kind of, they don't have anything about them that's really punk other than their image, basically. Oh yeah, Green Day, yeah. I mean, I don't mind some of their earlier stuff, and even a couple of their live stuff as well, but it's just, not the biggest fan. But they got some cool songs. Yeah. Water bottle. Hello Bella, how you doing today? I hope you're well. Thank you for the 24 likes. Smash that like button, everybody. I just don't like it when people are a bit deceptive and stuff. Steven says Green Day sucks so bad. I mean, I think they've got a few good songs. Some of their stuff might be a bit overrated, but... Oh yeah, Dead Kennedys, I've heard of them. Exploited, I've heard of them as well, but I've never really listened to Exploited. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, is everybody okay? Welcome to the live. Have you heard a band called, well, I don't know if I should say the name because of the word, but I'm just going to say S tendencies. I don't know, it's just crazy because I feel like I'm having to like self-censor, it's just bullshit, but just because you know like what they do with like when people use certain words and stuff. Oh really? Oh yeah, you were saying about that, it's just, and then you had the, what was it? The guy from, what is it, Johnny Rotten in a friggin' butter advert or something. Which one was it? I can't believe it's not butter or something, whatever it was. I mean, that's not exactly punk, is it? They're shilling for some friggin', you know, like what would they call it? Like, you know, like a corporation, basically. Self-esteem, oh yeah. Yeah, that was the thing I've seen about, like, where basically she messes with his head, basically, and, you know, kind of, yeah, it's like a bunch of, like, yeah, people try and gaslight you, and, don't get me wrong, I think they've got some good tunes and stuff. I think that album they did called Ixnay on the Hombre was an underrated one. I think that was probably their best. Probably their most kind of creative record, I'd say. Because it kind of took a few different influences from different genres and stuff. Like there was like kind of times where it sounded a little bit like kind of Jane's Addiction, that kind of stuff. And then there was like songs with other influences, like more kind of exotic kind of influences, and like yeah, there's some good stuff on there. But yeah, then after that is where they really kind of just sold out. But you could say that they were already sold out at that point because they'd already signed a big record, but their whole sound just becomes so mainstream on the one after that, like Americana, which was just, you know, especially on songs like, you know, what is it, Pretty Fly for a White Guy and all that kind of stuff. And that's where they started, in my opinion, getting a little bit cringe and just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not the worst song in the world, but, you know, it's just, then there's that other song that they, Why Don't You Get a Job? It's like, I don't know. That song starts getting a bit kind of, you know. I mean, there was a couple of alright songs off there, but yeah. Screwdriver. I don't know that one. Well, there was a band called Swerve Driver. They were more kind of, like, kind of cross between grunge and shoegaze. They were more like kind of 90s. They were out around the time of some of those bands like My Bloody Valentine and stuff like that. But okay, Brogan, what's that? Dead Milkmen? Is that another band? No, I'm not little and I'm not fat. Anyway, thanks for the 25 likes. Let's get it to 30 likes real quick. That would be really appreciated. But yeah, sometimes I like to just pace around, you know, because I just feel like my energy is better when I'm moving rather than just sitting in one spot for too long. Also, that's not good for like your it's not good for like your lymphatic system and stuff like that. Like your lymphatic system actually needs movement. Now, yeah, it's important to sit around every so often, but the lymphatic system requires your muscles to contract, I believe, in order to do that. Hi, Navia. How's it going? I hope you're well today. Oh, Tiger's still there, yeah. Well, I hope that gets better soon then, Brogan. Yeah, but I like to talk about music and stuff. Hope you're all having a great day today. Sometimes people get accused of selling out, but then sometimes it's just that they wanted to change their sound over time. Maybe their tastes changed. Maybe they're not so angry teens anymore. Like some of them times they'll start off as teens and then they'll sort of, you know, that they were like really angsty and they make angry, heavy music and whatever, and then they sort of change their kind of style over time just naturally. It'll be like a natural change, like natural evolution of their sound. It's not because they're wanting to make more money or anything. In fact, sometimes they make less money by changing up their sound, because the people that were their fans to start with when they had a certain sound, and then they tried to sound more mainstream, and they end up losing fans doing that. So they just do what they want to do, and I think that's actually the most kind of punk thing to do, arguably, is to just not give a damn, like. Well, there was this band called Hot Water Music, which some would argue is like a bit of like a punk sort of band, but sometimes they use these like funky bass and stuff like that, and influences that are not really punk. But they were saying how, one of them was saying that they would say that they're punk because they don't really give a damn about conforming to any sort of, you know, ideas like with music and stuff. They just do what they want, and isn't that what punk is about? You know, it's about being, you know, just not giving a damn. You could say punk is a genre of music, but the punk, you know, sort of like attitude is just about, you know, not giving a damn, and you can always feel free to sort of explore different sort of genres and not have to be rigidly one genre all the time. So I think that's a good thing to be, if you can just kind of have like that kind of creative freedom and not give a damn what people think. Because they're like, oh, you're not really true this or that. But it's like, well, I don't care, I'm just doing what I want to make. I'm doing fine, thank you, Demo. How you doing? I hope you're well. Johnny Rotten is a punk. How is he a punk then? I don't know, like, how he's really a punk. Like, to me, he doesn't seem to have much. It's just an image, I think, with a lot of these people. Cold Clutch, how you doing? Oh, Eduardo, how you doing? Hello, Ponita. Well, I remember he was saying that he supported Trump or something. Some might argue that that's kind of like I remember someone was saying that was like the new punk or something, is to be like openly like a Trump supporter or something. I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't think he's a good person or anything, but if you actually would go against the grain of like what's seen as acceptable in society, then, you know, then you could be seen as a punk for doing that. Hello, Robert. Oh, Zaid. Okay, Zaid, how you doing today? Welcome in. But yeah, if I was to make music, I wouldn't want it to be pinned down to a particular genre, because to me that would get boring and feel just kind of rigid and not really able to express different styles. And yeah, because to me, like, making music would be about an adventure, and listening to it would be like an adventure as well, where you can experience different Like if you're listening to an album and it's just, sometimes it can get a bit boring if it's just like the same the whole way through, like, and it doesn't really evolve into anything. Judge Judy as a plaintiff, the episode was hilarious. Oh, I've not seen that. Yeah, oh yeah. Thank you for joining me today. Tradition, Family, Empire. How you doing? Smash that like button, everybody. What, 29 likes? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so what makes Johnny Rotten a punk then, other than just an image? Is it the whole thing of him like just not giving a damn when he's like being interviewed and stuff, like speaks his own mind? Well, I suppose like if you can do that, then because like even if it means that you go against all the other punks out there, you know, because they might be like, oh, you're a traitor, you support this thing or whatever, and it's like, well, so what? You know? Yeah, no spam in the chat, guys. No. Thanks for the 30 likes, everyone. Oh yeah, there was that, what was she called? What was that? I think she was called, what was she called? The woman who was like, wasn't she like actually well, she was never really a proper punk, but like she were in that sort of, you know, kind of community. What was she called? That singer. She was like sort of punk, but like, well, it was more post-punk or whatever. But it was, but yeah, she was just like she was kind of been shown as a fake because of the way that she kind of just went along with the whole, you know, 2020 stuff. No, I'm from the UK, Alex. What about yourself? Toya Wilcox, I think that was what she was called. Yeah, basically she was like wasn't she one of those that were like going on about the jab or something? I don't know. That's what I remember anyway. I think it was Toya Wilcox, but you get so many people who, you know, they go on about being against the, you know, like whatever, like the establishment and all that, and then they kind of get shown up to be like pro-establishment. So a lot of these leftists, they actually, you know, they act like they're so like against the establishment, but they actually just went along with it when it came to like the jabs and all the stuff. Like they did all the, you know, they did what they were told basically, which I think is quite ironic, really, isn't it? The people that were supposedly so anti-establishment were the ones that actually went along with it the most, it seems. Like, as a percentage, they were the ones that went along with it the most. Oh yeah, institutionalized, yeah. Yeah, that was the thing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they were like, I don't know if they were like true punks or whatever, but they had some quite, yeah, sort of like interesting lyrics and stuff. Oh yeah, Rage Against the Machine, more like Rage for the Machine, you know? That's the thing, Rage Against the Machine. They're kind of like hypocrites, I would argue. They go on about the evils of capitalism, but yet they're actually, you know, benefiting so much from it. So like, you can't really complain about a system that you're benefiting from, really, can you? That's what I find quite ironic about a lot of these people who, they talk about being so against capitalism, but yet, look at, they're probably making millions, right? So they're obviously benefiting from capitalism. Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to make that much money, right? If they think that we're all supposed to be equal and all that, right? They're literally, I wouldn't really say they're commies. I mean, otherwise they would not be, wouldn't they just be like, I don't know, like, to me they're just, I think they're fake commies, if anything. Like, they're actually rage for the machine, I would argue. So, Annie, how you doing? I hope you're well. Like, they're going about being, against the whole, like, like, corporations and stuff, but yet, weren't they signed to a corporation then? I mean, they're benefiting the corporate classes, right? And the corporate classes are benefiting them. So that they are benefiting from the capitalist system. I mean, let's say if we had a socialist or communist system, would they actually be able to have got that kind of level of influence? I don't know. Hello, Quill Magmo. Okay, thank you. Now, some might say, well, just because you're benefiting from capitalism doesn't mean that you can't complain about it. I mean, I get that, but it's just, like, you would think that if they would just kind of donate all of the money that they don't need to, like, whatever. I don't know what goes on with them, like, do they do that? I'm not saying that people should necessarily do that, I'm just saying that if you're so against capitalism or something, then there's no such thing as a socialist landlord. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, because by definition it's like capitalist, isn't it? I'm not saying that capitalism is fully wrong or anything. Maybe we need to look at a more kind of nuanced, so I was talking about this with someone the other day, a more nuanced kind of, like, perspective on things that, like, yeah, there might need to be some socialist kind of things in place, like, maybe we do need a, universal healthcare, for example, and certain infrastructure that is centralized or whatever, but I don't know, I'm not sure what to even believe anymore, like what, I don't know, I question everything at this point, but yeah, like, there's arguments for and against everything, isn't there? So, is everybody alright then? Thank you for the 36 likes. Saying that class war gazette, they capitalise on that. What's the class war? Hello, Yahir Smith. How you doing today? Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. Smash the like button, everybody. Yeah, I'm on 37 likes now. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's afternoon, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's good to hear, Yahir. The problem with capitalism is fractional reserve banking. I can't believe how this is almost never discussed as a critique of capitalism. Fractional reserve banking is a pyramid scheme that... Hang on, I'll just wait for the rest of it to come through. Okay, thank you, Yahir. I'm doing fine, thank you, Alex Foley. How are you doing today? Hope all is well. Well, so I say something about fractional reserve banking, maybe explain a bit more about that, but is there any potential solution to that without it leading to socialism or something? Hello, Kyra Stevens, how you doing? Hang on. Alex, who's Alex? Requires fresh loans to be continually issued to make sure there is enough money in circulation for payments on the old loans to be possible. Yeah, hello, SMS, and some argued that the system shouldn't be based on debt. That's the thing, is we have a debt-based economy. Like, there's so much debt in this economy that's like, it would take probably like like even if we just kind of like basically tightened up all of our spending, that it still take forever to pay off, basically. Yeah, so it is basically a pyramid scheme where, yeah, the top benefits the most, whilst the people at the bottom end up losing money. A Discord scam, or whatever. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. Smash that like button, everybody. So what do you propose as a solution to like fractional banking? Because yeah, that's the thing, is that people have to constantly feed the banks with like money, and otherwise it all fails, right? Thank you, Latira May. The United States is in trillions of dollars in debt that is mathematically impossible to repay. The Fed can create money out of thin air, but the government can't. Yeah. So why is it that? Hang on. Why are you banning people in the chat? Hang on. Why are you banning people? We don't need to ban people, but yeah, I suppose they did say something kind of crazy there, but that's just what people do sometimes. But sometimes people just say some really stupid things in here. So what do you think is the solution? And this is where some people will say, oh, well, this is where they're going to try and destroy the economy and then bring in digital currency like CBDCs and hello, Marjay Besorio. How you doing? How you doing? All right? Rosalinda, how you doing? Oh, it's George from Goa. Hi. How you doing, George? Nice to meet you. Smash the like button, everyone. Hello, Marjay. How you doing? So, what's your solution to fractional reserve banking? Sorry, what was your message, Sonny? Hang on. In every belief there is the good side and the less positive side. When each side goes to extreme, that's when the things occur. Yeah, basically. Yeah, God in India, yeah. So Grace and Kun, how you doing? Welcome to the live. Sorry I missed your comment there, but yeah. Sometimes I miss a few comments, that's just what happens. A bit distracted and I start, I'm kind of like ranting about a certain thing, and then, yeah. I don't know like what the solution is, but maybe the whole system needs to be completely dismantled. At this point, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Even the whole idea of a central government that is just, the whole, this is where I could agree with like the communists and whatever, but I just disagree with the way that they want to go about it. And like, to me, I would say that, because we were talking about agorism and that, but do it in a legal way though. But like, basically, we would have like something, I'd have something to replace this with. And that might be more about running things at a local level, and just, it would be about encouraging small businesses and stuff like that. So the economy would be mainly about small businesses rather than about corporations and stuff. Because this is what agorism they tend to believe in. It's what they call market anarchy. So it's, some of them would say that they're anti-capitalist, but if you actually look at it, they're not really anti-capitalist. They just disagree with like corporatism, because some people kind of like use corporatism and capitalism synonymously, but in this particular version, you would have like small businesses would be kind of competing, and And it would be about trying to sort of dismantle the system that is supporting the corporate elites, because arguably, like, that's what is helping these corporate elites by, for example, lobbying. So yeah, it's a slippery word. What you mean? You mean as in, like, people have certain ideas about it, and it's like, as soon as you bring that word up, then people have certain ideas in their head about what it is. Like, people think it has to do with, like an exploitative system. But you could argue that there can be exploitation in any system. You could argue even in communism that could lead to exploitation as well. Yeah. I already said my biggest issue. So, like, Glylen has it going. What would you say would be the solution to that? Or is you just kind of saying that is like, you know, that if that's what we have to deal with, then that's just kind of thing. But I like to look at solutions and what we can propose as like an actual solution, because there's no point in just keep talking about problems and then nothing ever happens. But I think if we can try to, you know, have a problem-solving mindset where we're like, okay, well, maybe it could be done this way or that way, then to get around certain issues. But evolved Godzilla, how you doing? Labor-based currency instead of debt-based currency would be a step in the right direction. Well, that starts to sound like Karl Marx's, labor theory of value. I mean, some might argue that is fair, and that, because some argue that this whole kind of isn't actual, because of the whole capitalist system, the whole hyperinflation. In 10 years' time, the money that you made now is worth nothing. So you can't even save that money and then kind of guarantee it'll be worth anything. You would have to invest that money into some kind of stock or some bond or something like that, to actually keep it from being outpaced by inflation or something. Which, yeah, nothing to do with Marxism. Marxism is a psyop. Right, so I can explain more about that. Evolved Godzillas from the Netherlands. Alright, really. That looks like the France flag. Or is it the other way around or something? Because it's got those same colours, the red, white and blue. The French flag, isn't it? Hi Vic, how you doing? I hope you're well today. Smash that like button, everybody. You two should go for a beer. Alla Shifa Ata Forma, how you doing? Really? Blue Creeper, how you doing? I hope you're well today. Hello Rosemary, how you doing today? If money is based on labour instead of debt, that means that money is only created based on actual work done and actual goods produced instead of a debt-based money printing press. Are you saying that would avoid inflation? Because that's the problem with this currency. We just get like hyperinflation and that money having no value in 20 years. Any money, that your money just ends up being worthless. Like how they would say that back in the year, say 2000, a Freddo was like 10p, and now it's like 40p or something. So it's gone up by about 4 times the price in about 25 years or so. Samurai, how you doing? Hope you're well today. No, stop spamming the chat. You will get timed out. There you go. Goodbye. Anyway, let's get back to it. So yeah, like this whole thing of like, you know, money just becoming worthless all the time, it's bullshit, isn't it? Like you're saying, like your money should be based on your value that you've produced. Inflation happens when money is in more supply than the goods produced by work. That's why inflation wouldn't be an issue with labor-based currency. Yeah, because you couldn't have more money in supply than what there's available. It would be all just supply and demand, basically. It would just be, there would only be as much supply of it. It would basically be like, you could argue it'd be like a self-regulating thing, in a sense that there would only be enough available relative to the demand. So how do you think that a labor-based currency would actually work in practice then? Like, how would you have a system where you don't have endless money printing? Gotta reset the bubble this way. In about the whole CBDC thing, and that's what they're saying, that they're trying to move towards with this Agenda 2030 and all that. And if you've been paying attention to all that kind of stuff, it might tie in with the whole "you own nothing and be happy." You've probably heard that slogan that they've used at the World Economic Forum. Hello Nova, how you doing? I mean, I can actually get behind in some way that I think that when you own so much, you can end up sort of being owned by it, you could argue. Now, I did say earlier that I think it's good, it could be good to be an entrepreneur, but when you get to a point where all you care about is owning shit, then life would just become very miserable. You'd be like constantly comparing, constantly not feeling good enough, which I don't think is good. You have to be happy with wherever you're at, regardless of how much money you've got. Yeah, we all die with nothing, exactly. You don't take any of it with you, so, yeah. Americans are tied to our debts. Oh, yeah. So also taxes would combat inflation in a labor-based monetary system. Right. Look, yeah, hello, Ketty channel. Hello, Maya, how you doing? But then some argue that tax itself is a form of theft. Like, if the tax is mandatory and that tax is being used as a way to just, whatever. But yeah, basically, like, why should your work be taxed? And then, because according to like your, monetary value of a certain thing, like say a certain task that you do or whatever, that you should be able to keep all of that, arguably, because that is the value of that transaction. Now some might say, well, it's just not practical for that because then we wouldn't have the infrastructure or something. Maybe if like they just only have people earning over a certain amount of money pay for that, I don't know. Now there's actually this thing called Georgism. Basically what it was saying is that the only tax that would be necessary is, what was it? Land ownership tax. So the more land you own, let's say like, for example, if you had a, big office or whatever, and it was basically not really being used, some argue that the good thing would be is that it would end up like causing a lot of them to just kind of sell off parts of the building or something like that, so that they could free up space, because some argue that owning loads of land is actually kind of at a cost to society, basically. That some argue that they should pay tax in order to be able to have that land, so that they can, because you know, basically it's like, yeah, they're making that private now. They're but it's like that. Still don't know about the issue of how to keep inflation down when many goods produced will be consumed quickly, e.g. petrol, food, electricity, but the money in circulation would remain the same. Is that to suggest that potentially money will actually deflate? Because if the money becomes the same amount, you could argue that it's like, for example, there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin, and they were saying how eventually it would become very like deflated if everyone started using it, because of it's like if there's too much money in circulation that can cause inflation, but it could actually deflate or something if there's the same amount and then there's more and more people, you know, using it or something. I don't know. How could the issue of having the money supply accurately reflect the goods available? Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? This is where they'll try and come up with the whole CBDC, and they'll argue that that is the most efficient way of doing things, that will come to save the day. Thank you for the 50 likes. Percy, how you doing? No, I'm British. You can build a 3,500 square foot home for 400k, sell it for 1.6. Well, I don't know how to build a home, so wouldn't you need a whole bunch of permission to do that anyway? But John Wayne, how you doing? Hang on. It would still be inflation because the workers still have their money from producing the quickly consumed products, but the actual wealth, the goods already consumed, are not available for sale. We were saying that things like petrol, which is like, you know, as far as we know, there's going to be a constant supply for at least a while longer anyway. So people are constantly consuming those things. So then the money just kind of keeps, going around in circulation. I don't know. I don't really quite understand what you're saying, but thanks for the 54 likes. Hi, Gunshaw, good to see you. How you doing? All the best, mate. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'd to come up with 100k making a whopping 36k. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Well, this is the thing when you've got big corporations. The only way that I could see you could do it is to do it as some kind of syndicate, where if you knew, say, like 10 people, right, and you all just chipped in, and then you could just kind of make a bit of money each, right? Potentially, I was thinking about this in terms of even just buying a house. Like if a few people bought a house and then they just kind of split it between them, so that they could at least have some kind of ownership, I guess. Maybe they could divide it up into several rooms or something like that. I don't know if there'd be a way to kind of make it to where you could like, where each person legally owns a small section of the house. I don't know if there's a way of doing that. So it kind of avoids any kind of, there's potential issues that could happen is what I'm saying. Yeah, but there's got to be a way that we could join forces basically and come together, and so that we can actually basically, pool resources together. I mean, like there's got to be a way, like with land ownership, things like that, we could pool resources together. Like if there's a dozen people, for example, and because then each person only has to chip in a little bit. Whereas doing it one person, it's going to be very difficult. Because yeah, like 400k, right? You'd have to like put down quite a lot of deposit to even get like a loan for, even if it's just like a short-term loan or something, which, yeah. Property management companies, what do you mean? Or are you saying that is an idea of like... Anyway. Inflation happens when there's a lot of money in circulation, but there's a shortage of goods available for sale. You'd have to find a way where the money in circulation reflects the goods available for sale. But then, what I was saying is, there's the same amount of goods for sale and there's less money in circulation, then isn't that good then? Because you were saying that there wouldn't be more money being printed. I don't quite understand, but anyway. Oh yeah, investors. So yeah, you could invest in like property. There's actually some sites where you can invest, like micro investments, kind of like how people invest in the stock market. Like, for example, they invest in like an index fund or something like S&P 500, FTSE 200, whatever, and just kind of get like a few percent each year in return, potentially. Depending on which way the wind's blowing, of course, but I'm doing fine, thank you, Zuhaib. How you doing? Great Britain. Yes, I am. I'm British. But maybe we can, get a few people together and buy some property. Maybe we can do one to like let out. I've seen like some of them where they have like a tenant in situ, so they already have a tenant in there. We could maybe get a few people together who can buy that. And then we just scale it, because it's going to be hard to do it on your own, because you'd have to get a mortgage out, and the mortgage probably isn't even going to cover the cost of the rent and the insurance in a lot of cases. Sorry, did I put you in a timeout, DC? I don't think I did. Anyway, maybe someone else did, but I didn't do that. Okay, maybe someone else did. I don't know. Maybe Tiger did. I don't know, but I didn't. I don't think. Oh yeah, the bicep. So yeah, I was doing this like exercise for the biceps earlier, where you just use a towel. I might even show you now, guys, but this is like kind of a bit goofy looking, but it's an at-home bicep exercise. What's this? Yeah, so what are you guys thinking? Because I was thinking about making some content, like video or something, just explaining my idea where we could get a few people together, maybe invest in some property, and then let out that property, and then we could just start buying up more properties using the profits and stuff. And eventually you can be making like thousands of pounds a month potentially, each person. So this is what you do. So you get a towel like this, and then just wrap it around your legs, yeah? I know this looks really weird, but this is kind of like a prison type of workout. So what you do, you tie it up like this. It's an anchor point now, so you can just curl your own body weight. It's on your legs, but you can still get some like that. So anyway, let's go when the market's low. What's that? Sorry. I'm up for that, but I mean, credit history. I mean, nothing much really. But I was just saying, if people have a few thousand to put down, and we had it like all together, we could probably just get a cheap place and just start renting it out. In fact, some of them already have renters in place, but we just depends on how many people want to get involved and how much money each person has. That way, there doesn't need to be like a big mortgage or something. We just have to figure out what we have to do, but yeah. Why don't we become bankers, loan money at interest, and have the publicity funded police do our repossession work if a mortgage defaults? What do you mean? What you're saying, that become a banker as well as an investor as a way to protect your own ass? Is that what you're saying? I don't know what. Buying foreclosed, repossessed homes are sold for pennies on the dollar. Really? I've seen stuff about like vacant properties and stuff. Is that what they are then? Like vacant properties? Because I'll see like some vacant properties going for like next to nothing in certain areas. Might be worth looking at some cheap areas like the northeast. There's places like Shildon and a few other towns up in the northeast that are like going dirt cheap. So it might be worth looking into some of those for cheap entry points. Yeah, banks want to get rid of them, yeah. Hello, Seb, how you doing today? Yeah, 10k, I mean, if we could get a few people with like 10k, then it's just that we need quite a few people, that's the only thing. Depends on who. I'm not going to say how much I've got, but I've got some money that I can throw at this shit. County Durham and Newcastle way, like Sunderland's meant to be really cheap as well, but obviously it can be quite rough. Also places like Burnley, so a lot of Lancashire's quite cheap. Like, remember Blackburn was relatively cheap. Because I remember there was, my dad had to sell his house a bit cheap actually, but roughly around his area was like, and this was actually not a bad area, 2-bed terrace houses going for about 80,000, just to put it into perspective. And he had to sell it for like 73k, I think, which was a bit less than what he wanted to, but you know, he had to sell it basically. So, but that shows you how different it is. Whereas here, the same house would be probably double that, probably 150 or even above, close to 200k. And in the centre of York, it can be, you know, 300, 400k for a friggin' house. It's insane. There's 100k's of abandoned homes selling for 3k to 20k. Yeah, I saw one in, there was this couple moving to like Bulgaria where there was like somewhere for like 7k. And it had a lot of land on it as well, but it was in a bit of like a dilapidated state, but the amount of land that it came with was pretty impressive. And it was in like it was quite a remote area, but it would be good if someone wanted to do like homesteading and stuff, and I think that's what they were planning to do. But I'm just saying, you know, if people wanted to like get involved in some like investment, then we can try and figure it out. But let's say each person threw 10k, then we just need a few people to join in on that. Oh yeah, Airbnb can be an idea, but they're quite risky, aren't they? But yeah, I suppose everything's got a risk, but it's just you'd have to be able to make sure you can get enough people to stay there. I do find Airbnb a bit kind of, I don't know, it's a bit corrupt in my opinion, because you're taking houses off the long-term rental market, which in my opinion is not really good, unless, I mean, it's okay I guess if you're just renting out a spare room. That's what some people will do, But when people are like preventing like houses from, you know, like being on the long-term rental market, then that's shortening the supply and it's increasing the cost of housing. So I mean, so I think that might be part of why the house prices are actually going up. I mean, because you got so many of these Airbnb short-term rentals and stuff. Yeah, 2 houses in Durham, that'd be good. That, yeah, but then how much would you get per month profit? If you were to say have a yield of about, let's say 6 or 7%, something like that, you're probably looking at about, let's say, I don't know, because each person would be like only maybe making like £100, £200 a month, but that's just a starting point. And then you would just reinvest money and then just, anyway. But yeah, it is possible, I believe, to do that. But you also get the equity in the house going up there, that's true. But everybody will only get a share. But yeah, that's the benefit as well. It's not just that you would get the benefit of the rental income, but you also get capital appreciation. But then there's taxes on that. But it's still probably better than a lot of investments, in my opinion. But obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. There can still be advantages to doing things like, just like stocks and stuff, because it's very easy to do. But obviously, with property investing, there's a lot of active, unless you get a manager, which then eats into the profit. But yeah, some people can't be on mortgage though. Well, this is when you buy outright. This is what I mean. You wouldn't be getting a mortgage. You would be buying somewhere in cash if you can get that amount of money together somehow, is what I'm saying. So yeah. But what are you saying, that you wouldn't be able to mortgage somewhere later on or something? What are you saying? The auction property. What do you mean? There's got to be some way around it. I mean, like there's people who do investments and stuff, invested in property and what have you. Like there's actually, I think there was a site somewhere where people can invest in that. They become like a shareholder in that, basically. Hello, Daniel, buying shares in property, like how people buy shares in the stock market. It's basically like the stock market for property. Hello, Sebastian, how you doing? Hope you're well. Got you. So what do you actually suggest then? Is it possible to join forces and put, a pool of money together, buy somewhere in cash? Is that even doable, or is there some kind of law that... I'd have to just look at it, actually. Hello, Tracy, how you doing? Hope you're well. Oh, really, Danielle? That's good then. Hope you're having a great day. Jess, Colonel, how you doing? Hope you're well. So, let's have a look. Fair enough. Hello, Sarah, how you doing? Can 10 people pool money together to buy to let? Yes, you can pool money with 10 people, mortgage lenders, cap named applicants on a single loan, usually 2 to 4 people. Managing this many people privately is highly complex, so the standard approach is to use a special purpose vehicle, SPV limited company, or a property syndicate. Here are the most viable ways to structure a 10-person buy-to-let investment and the steps required. So it basically says that all 10 people become shareholders and or directors. You can issue shares representing exactly how much money each person contributed. Ashley's Property Management Ltd.
Speaking Ashley. Ashley of Coronation Street. Ashley Peacock. Remember Ashley Peacock? He talked like this, doesn't he, of Corrie? Hello? Hello, my name's Ashley. Ashley Peacock.
Yeah, so dividends or profits are legally distributed based on each person's share percentage. So you could have people with different share percentages. Roy Cropper. Yeah, it does that. What is it? It's hard for me to do his voice, but Les Gibson did a good Roy Cropper impression. Don't know if anyone's seen him. He's quite a good impressionist. He was actually on Britain's Got Talent way back. Ashley's Property Management Limited, that's our company name already sorted. Oh, really? But then we can have Ashley's Holdings Limited. What do you mean it's already sorted? Well, you've literally done it now. What are you on about? What's going on? Sanjeev Messi, how you doing? Welcome to the live. Smash that like button, everybody. Considering all the time and work he put into the properties, what's this? Hang on. My dad was a landlord as a side gig. His profession was an electrical engineer for the Philadelphia Electric Company. He might have made minimum wage from his investment properties when, yeah. As your solicitor and risk manager, Jamie, I don't approve of this. Sister company Ashley's Holdings Limited. Oh, goodness. Anyway, thanks for the 68 likes, everyone. If only I'd have kept all the toy cars in their boxes, then I could have just made probably millions. Well, not millions, but several thousand probably. Christopher, how you doing? Oh, Zoe, nice to meet you, Zoe. Welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having a great day today. Smash that like button, everybody. I think they've just took that like away on purpose, because that number in it, fucking hell. We need to get it off that number, don't we, now? Oh, goodness. Oh, thank you, Zoe. Flamingo Hot Wheels, how you doing? Hope you're well. Raise Yadivi, thank you. Hope you're having a blessed day, everybody. I've noticed when I eat mushrooms I get terrible stomach pain. It took me a while to realise that it's a pattern. I might be allergic. Oh no, that's not good. Yeah, maybe don't eat them now then. Oh, Kieran, I don't know, Ronaldo then. Lefando, how's it going? Oh, your eyes, okay, thank you. Definitely, yeah. Yeah, if it's causing you problems, then maybe you are allergic then. And YMTA3, what's my stream about? We're just here to talk different things. Been talking about things like buying up property and stuff. I subscribe. Thank you. Sinister Mark Edits 89. Do I remember? Yeah, welcome back. How are you today? Hope all is well. Yeah, smash the like button, everyone. So yeah, I don't know if anyone would be interested in pulling some money together, and yeah, I subscribed. Okay, thank you. There's 44 people who chose no heartless monsters. I know. Whatever. We do get that, don't we, sometimes, you know, we've got the people who just want you to fail, you know, that's their problem, isn't it, you know? It says more about them, doesn't it, really, I think. Eat a lot of mushrooms if you are passed out, you're definitely allergic. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's really a good idea to be eating a load, and then I think it's probably best to just not do it if you're, yeah. If it's causing issues, then maybe don't resort to shit like that. That could be quite dangerous. You could end up really getting ill. Hello, John. How you doing? Hello, Chi. I was told that's normal to be sick when you're coming up. What do you mean? In the 2007, I thought it was 2008. That was 2008 financial crash, wasn't it? Government money was given directly to the banks instead of to the mortgagers. If the money was given to the mortgagers to give back to the banks would still get their money, and the mortgagers would have gotten to keep their homes. Yeah, 2008 financial crash, wasn't it? But some say that there was already kind of things happening for like a year or so before that whole crash. But it all just seems to be by design, just to, in my opinion, like a really big con to just try and, yeah, just screw over these people, right? But I think there's probably better ways to know that you're allergic to something than to make yourself seriously ill. Okay, thank you, Barry. Oh, Marcus, no, I don't. Pranesh. Okay. Inevitable in it. Yeah, I suppose. But some say that it was done deliberately, like, as some kind of, you know, just, the way that a lot of this, like, speculation was done, and the fact that companies they knew that they were going to be bailed out, so, yeah, no Snow White eye doing. They didn't care because they knew that they would all get bailed out. The banks would get, oftentimes, especially the big banks, they would be bailed out if, so, yeah. So they would all be in support of just, alright, dude, okay, well, if you don't think it's fun, then that's, anyway, that's too bad. Oh yeah, Brogan, that's right. It's okay, Snow White. Raindell, oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, what's everybody up to today then? Okay, dude, well, thank you. Sometimes I like to just chat, and I guess that's not really enough for you, but yeah. I can't always do fun things. That would get exhausted after a while, so sometimes I like to do impressions and things like that. Like I like to do Donald Trump, but yeah, it just gets quite exhausting after a while. I just get sick of it. Hang on, what's this? I'm going to help grow your channel. Okay, thank you. No, what's that, Brogan? Oh, really? I wanna be famous, really? I look like your uncle, do I? I look like a lot of people apparently. I look like what is it? Zelensky. I look like Harry Kane, even though none of those people look like each other. Let's get 100 likes on the live, please. On 78 likes now. Do you like beans? Yeah, I like beans. What kind of beans? You mean just baked beans, or I like different kinds of beans. Like quite like kidney beans as well, like chili and stuff like that. My show speed. Hello. I've heard about that guy. That was that guy that beat Ashton Hall. Or Ashton can do fuck all. Anyway, and that thing where he just got humiliated, mendacious. Hello. Okay, well, you have to keep coming with accounts and stuff. I think it's a bit dodgy when people do that sort of stuff. But anyway, is everybody doing alright? Let's get 100 likes. Thank you, I shall speak. What's your name, by the way? Alright, the idiots in here. Here we go again. Oh, Rashid. Okay, nice to meet you, Rashid. Yeah, just the idiots. It's like keyboard warriors and stuff. Johnny suggests that Descartes was an agent as to separate matters of consciousness or the soul and matters of empirical science. This meant the church would be given domain over matters of consciousness or the soul. What do you mean? Hello, Rendell. Thank you. Darby Morgan. I'm from the UK. Where are you from? Not really Big Maxi Burn. Where are you from? You're over Ireland, right? Big Billy Hargrove fan. How you doing? Do I play any games? I used to, but not really much now. Hello, High Sigma Edits. Descartes. Oh yeah, Descartes. That's because it's like, isn't it Greek, I mean. Yeah, I used to play video games like Need for Speed and racing games like that, basically. Yeah, it's cooled down, yeah. But it's still really warm in this place right now. It's like I said, it was about 20, nearly 25 degrees in here. It's been quite hot weather and stuff, and it's still just not really been cooling down that much in the room. So I'm in top floor, so I suppose that doesn't really help because all the heat rises. Kalat Rice, how you doing? Charlie McKenzie, how you doing? Shout out to you. Hello, Glees Lorano, how you doing? Yes, I'm English. Yeah, I feel it in here as well, but my bedroom has no outside wall, so it's cooling there at night. Well, that's good then. What do you mean, no outside walls? Descartes was the famous scientist and mathematician. Cartesian. Oh yeah, I've heard of Cartesian coordinates. Product is. But oh yeah. He was a Frenchman who lived in the 1600s. Oh really? It looks Greek for some reason. But I suppose thinking about it is kind of French, but I think probably because I was thinking of Socrates, Descartes or something. It looks kind of Greek. Anyway. But yeah, I have heard of Cartesian coordinates. That definitely rings a bell. Sounds weird, but the room is like not touching an outside wall of the house. It's surrounded by other rooms. Right. Oh yeah, World Cup. Okay. Nah, I don't really do football. I mean, I'm not really into football, but each their own, eh? I mean, I can't even remember last time I played football. It was a while ago, where I just was kicking the ball around and stuff. But yeah. Everybody doing alright? India, oh yeah, really? Pro sports are bread and circuses, yeah, nah. Like when it gets to that kind of level, it's just so corporate, isn't it? Where do I live? I live in England. Hello, Sweepy, or nah. One way to guarantee that you'll never be a mod is to ask to be a mod. Everybody doing alright then? Yeah, fine, borders, F. How are you? Oh yeah, virtual vision VR. Oh yeah. Yeah, I worked out a bit, but it's just been a bit hard with this weather, you know. It's been a bit exhausting, this heat and stuff. But I should probably go to the gym. There might be a bit of aircon in there, but like when I went last time, there wasn't even that much aircon in there. User says subscribe and liked as well. Okay, well I'm sorry, I'm not making people mods. My screen is turned black. I don't know. Don't think it's turned black for everybody else, is it? So maybe I'll do a gym workout later or something. Doing some pruning. Who's doing pruning? Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, about Big Mac's event. Oh, yeah, the garden. Yeah, pruning the trees and stuff. You mean like? Hello, Carly. How you doing? Hope you're well today. What's your surprise, dude? No, I'm not making people mods. Sorry. Been cutting hedges the last 4 days. Oh, really? Oh, wow. All the time I've been undercover. Who's this then? Whatever. I'm actually a famous footballer, really. Oh, really? I've never seen Inception. I mean, I've seen some clips of it. I was watching some, somebody explaining, how the film goes and stuff. But I haven't watched the whole thing. Pay a guy with a tractor, but what do you mean? Thank you, Star 2017. How you doing? Or Virgil van Dijk. Nah, never heard of him. Okay, can you just stop spamming the chat, please? It's getting a bit ridiculous. Okay. So why are you undercover then? What's that all about? It's like you haven't even spelt it right. You haven't even spelt the name right. Spelt D-I-J-K. But you spelt it D-I-K-E. So, if you really were him, I don't think you'd be spelling your name wrong, would you? Yeah, of course you're not him. Why would we have a footballer in the chat, you know?
Okay, thank you. Super du Palooka. Yeah, no, you're just kidding, yeah. But you can't even, like, spell the name right, so, like, yeah. Are we doing alright, people? Thank you for the 89 likes. It's okay, just stop doing it, you know. I've got 89 likes on the live. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. I don't have kids now. No. Maybe one day. But no, I don't have any right now. Hello, Simon. Still not back on. Okay, whatever. Nah, what about you, Stardew? The game is rigged against us. How can we change the rules of the game? Well, some say that we shouldn't play the game. Maybe the only way to win the game is to not play it. But then some say, well, that we can't do that because if we don't play the game, then we just end up being broke or whatever, and just. But like, I think the best thing to do is to band together. You know. I think it's probably the best thing to do. Like I said earlier, if we can put our resources together, we could probably make a lot of money, you know. If people have got a few thousand to spare each, we can invest that money. But that's my opinion anyway. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but that's one potential idea. I gotta be careful what I say on here, you know. Knock knock, who's there? Thanks for the 90 likes. But yeah, I think we've got to try and live life on our terms and just fuck what everybody else is like expecting of you. They expect you to have the latest iPhone, they expect you to have the latest gadgets, whatever that is, the latest clothes or whatever. What you're saying, Millie World, what do you mean? What's atch? Don't know what you mean. Money makes money. Well, this is the thing, this is why you bring people together, right? Everyone's going to have some money, right, for the most part. Unless you're completely destitute. Then you've just pulled it together, right? Then from there you just make more and more money. Yeah, it's going to be harder if you've not got the money to start with, but it's not impossible. Okay, Herbs. Yeah. Hello, GG. You'll hear that wealth doesn't buy happiness. Yeah, I'd say health as well. Arguably, yeah. Good day, mate. That's as if we're in Ireland or Australia. Oh, yeah. You're like England. I mean, I'm not really. I like some bits of it and not all of it. Hello, Mukesh. There's some good things about England, like the countryside and things like that. I've got 27 people in the building. Wow. Smash that like button, everybody. Let's get 100 likes on the live. Do you like Cheltenham? I've never been to Cheltenham. What's Cheltenham like? I've heard there's like big races that happen every year in Cheltenham, isn't there? A bit like Aintree and Ascot and all that. It's like you've got the Cheltenham races, haven't you? The lie that with wealth you can buy many things that can make you happy, like a toy or a food. Yeah, there is that. It's true up to a certain point. Hang on, can't hear you. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? What's going on? So you can, yeah, maybe you'll have to like refresh or something. No, I'm not doing that, definitely. So yeah, you can buy things that make you happy, right? But it's only true up to a certain point, I think. Beyond a certain point, then it just becomes greed, and then the actual work that you would have to do in order to sustain and go beyond a certain point is
would actually arguably be a net negative at a certain point. Little newbie king, how you doing? John Measham, but I think it's only true to a certain point. It's the happiness that you gain from more and more money. There's only a certain cap to where beyond a certain threshold it does not equate to more happiness. There's actually a lot of depressed, stressed out millionaires and billionaires. So just remember that, it's not always sunshine and rainbows at the top, right? Okay, Colin Barros, okay. I don't like freedom. I mean, the things that gives you food or something that you liked. Oh yeah. Can people develop telepathic, telekinetic, or remote viewing capabilities? Not sure. I'm not really a big proponent of that. I'm not sure. I mean, there's people that claim to do it. Like there was this guy called, what was he called? Max, whatever it's called, remote view or whatever, and claims to be able to remote view, but I've never had an experience with that myself, so I don't know if it's because it's one of those things that science hasn't been able to prove, at least not with any sort of rigorous, testing or whatever that would be required to prove such a thing. Sydney, I don't know, I've never been to Sydney. I mean, it's cool, I guess, some bits, like you've got the Sydney Opera House, right? That's what it's known for, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. No, Shine. There's even proof Jesus exists. Then what's your proof that Jesus exists? Is it in some book or something? Is that what you mean? What's your proof? BMW. Oh yeah. BMW cars. BMW M3. I remember my grandma used to call it "break my windows." Yeah, saying that's what BMW stands for. No, I live in the UK. Perth, my ass. I live in the UK. Let's go 100 likes on the live, thank you. Actually what? What do you mean? Anyway. No, like his blood, the crown of thorns that his son till his clothes. What you mean? Is that like really proof of anything? Let's just put this in on the search, see what it says. Shout out Frosted. So let's put this in on the Google search. Let's see. Is blood the crown of thorns, or sand? Hang on a sec. Sandler's clothes. Proof of Jesus' existence. Let's see what it says about this. Let's have a look. Ethics over faith. How you doing? Friendly minded. Okay. What's it? God allowed men to sell their daughters. Exodus 21:7 says, if a man sell his daughter to be a maid servant, and Exodus 12:14 calls this law an ordinance forever. Oh really? No, I'm British. So it says, no physical items like alleged blood, sandals, or the crown of thorns are not considered definitive proof of Jesus' existence by the scientific and historical communities. Instead, mainstream historians base the historical reality of Jesus of Nazareth on ancient, non-Christian written texts. Numerous relics are
venerated in Christian tradition, but none are accepted as undeniable, peer-reviewed scientific proof of Jesus. Blood and clothing, the Shroud of Turin. This 14-foot linen cloth bears the faint image of a crucified man and reddish-brown stains resembling blood, while some researchers argue the stains match the tortures described in the Gospels. Carbon-14 dating and forensic tests have yielded conflicting results, with many scientists concluding it's a medieval artifact or artistic creation. The Catholic Church does not officially declare it authentic, viewing it rather as an inspiring object of veneration. So what do you think about that then? What's this guy? What are you talking about? Oh yeah, there was spam in the chat, yeah. So, what do you think then, like, GG, about that? Because that was the thing that you were trying to use as some definitive proof or something, saying they've got proof. Even though the Catholic Church apparently doesn't even accept that as proof. Hello, Victoria, and archaeologists and stuff have actually, whatever, not archaeologists, whatever they mean, that forensic tests, basically they've found like conflicting data on it or something. That, you know, you've got, say, like, you know, some people thinking it could be like a medieval, is the word artifact, is that the right word? But yeah, like rather than something that's 2,000 years old. Like it doesn't really, yeah, it could be, yeah, that's the thing, is that even if it proved that he existed, but it still doesn't prove the whole kind of resurrection story, right? So even if it did prove that the historical Jesus existed, the whole crucifixion even happening, still doesn't prove that some literal magical resurrection thing happened that we cannot see, that we just have to... But who wins? Let me think of someone. What's that? Yeah. So even if it did prove that he historically existed, still doesn't prove a resurrection. Because we cannot go back in time and witness that. So we just have to take it on faith that... So it's all just more speculation, and that's what a lot of times is that people from like religions do, is they take a bunch of very subjective bits of evidence that is not objectively proven as some kind of, you know, so it's not really, I mean, it just sounds like scraping the barrel to me, really, when they're doing that kind of stuff. They're just scraping the barrel, trying to find any kind of, clutching at any kind of straw that they can find to support their worldview. Hello, Sophia. How you doing? Virginia! 94 likes, let's go 100 likes. Yeah, 6 more likes to go. Anyway, so there's that guy still there, the GG person. What's this? Jesus alive or Jesus in heaven? Probably, I don't know, it depends on what you want to believe, but I would say Jesus is probably not alive in the same way that he was then. Maybe he could have reincarnated as something completely different for all we know, but... Or maybe just nothing. Who knows, really? But I don't believe that Jesus is coming back to save us and all this kind of stuff. But walk up to someone and the first thing you say is, where are you from? I know, it's a bit kind of... yeah, it's a bit mad, that, isn't it?
yeah, it's just like when people, the first thing they say is, what do you do for work or something like that. It just feels a bit sort of rude, doesn't it, when it's like when people just come in here straight up with a question, like they will come up with, and sometimes it's quite unsolicited and really quite rude, and like when they just come in straight with some unsolicited advice. World Cup Germany 14-1, right? What about the UK? What about England? Are they? I don't know, but I don't really, get any sort of interest in that sort of stuff. But yeah, hi Sally, good to see you. How you doing? Hope you're well today. We're on 97 likes. Thank you, everybody. Hi, NUFC fan. How you doing? Popcorn. How you doing? Is okay. That's good then. Glad to hear it. Crinter, yeah. Welcome back. Are you family friendly? Well, I try to be. Steve. Feeling hot. Yeah, it is a bit. I'm in top floor here, so I'm actually. There's actually 3 floors on this building. I'm on the top one. This is why, because this is like kind of like an attic. That's why people are going about like the slope down and educational level. I mean, I've not really got like the best education, but a lot of the knowledge that I've learned is actually after education. When I started learning more about things like human anatomy, I was learning about biology and things like that, and like health and fitness, that sort of stuff, after I left school. So, okay then, whatever. So yeah, that I learned a lot of that after school. You sound very clever. Oh, thank you. I'm a very, very intelligent man. I read lots of books. I don't even really read books, but I like to look at stuff online. I look on websites, I'll watch videos. But yeah, sometimes I'll just be like talking to someone and they're just absolutely just completely idiotic and low IQ, and it's like it's hard to even talk to those kind of people. They just don't relate. So I'm like, they have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever, hardly. All they have knowledge in is like different kinds of beer and football games and shit that I have no interest in at all. Two more likes, guys. Anyway. $99 likes now, one more to go. I know it's a bit itchy. Pro Sports should stop tomorrow and I wouldn't notice the difference. Could stop tomorrow, oh yeah. That's the thing, right? The only difference I would notice is no one would like talk about matches and stuff. Like, what was it? I don't know. Well, let's just say hypothetically, if football just stopped, everything just stopped, what would people do then? Because it seems like a lot of people base their life around football. Like, they go to the pub so they can watch football together or whatever and just be like, "Yay, Man U just scored! Yay!" I can cook a little bit. Hi, whoever just joined. Might actually educate themselves. I'm not sure about that, actually. They'd probably just be more into, like, the brain rot and all the other crap, wouldn't they? They'd always find some other stupid distraction, wouldn't they, I guess? Yeah, soccer, it's not big in America. They have other things like, what is it, NFL and, say, basketball as well and stuff like that. And baseball is another one as well, isn't it? Is NFL? Hang on, NFL is that baseball? Baseball league. But yeah, they also have like. Oh, that's Canada. Canada's ice hockey, isn't it? And oh, American football. Of course, you got American football, and yeah. How could I forget? But yeah, American football, baseball, and basketball. Is there any other ones that I can think of that are more big in America? Hi, none of your business, is that your last name? None of your business. Huh. They take it serious over there, all their sports. Yeah. Hockey is bigger in America than soccer, right? But yeah, hockey just normal hockey, and then you've got ice hockey that's like more Canadian, isn't it, I believe? I think because obviously with Canada they've got like, you know, you associate it with like ice, don't you? You associate it with things like Winter Olympics and stuff, don't you? Hi Megan, how you doing? I hope you're well. Hello, Amor Astron, how you doing? I mean ice hockey when I say hockey. Oh, ice hockey, right. Yeah. I was associating ice hockey as like a Canadian thing, but I suppose it's big in America too. Which place would it be bigger in, would you say? America or Canada? Is there any ones that are like more Canadian, like? Because in Canada it's like they're not really big on football, like soccer as well, are they? I'm from Malaysia and I'm 10 years old. Okay. Oh really? The real Mr. Krabs. Hi Dora. How you doing today? Most major cities in America are pro football, American baseball, basketball, and hockey teams. Yeah. Yeah, over here it's like football, cricket, rugby. Do you do a lot of rugby over there, or like fishing is actually said to be the biggest participant sport, but I think that's probably the same over there as well. Whereas they say like over here football is the biggest spectator sport. I would have thought football would still be a bigger participant sport than fishing. I don't even really know that many people that do fishing. Maybe it's like an older people, I don't know, like, could you see a lot of people like kicking a ball around, playing football and stuff? Or do they mean as in like, the football has to be done with specific kind of, you know, sort of like it has to be done in a very specific way, like with specific goals and stuff, rather than just being kind of like a casual thing where you just kind of like make a sort of makeshift football pitch or something with, we just have goals in these kind of arbitrary positions where it's like you'll just kind of mark a certain spot where that's the goal or something. Yeah, I don't know, like, is fishing a sport? I mean, because fishing, yeah, it's like, is there fishing competitions? Like, because a lot of fishing is quite random, so you can't really, because if you were to say have a competition with fishing, like who can get the most amount of fish or something, then that's not really going to be fair, because it all depends on very, you know, varied sort of like circumstances, like someone might just happen to be in a spot where there's more fish, so you couldn't actually really, I don't know, like I don't think it's, you can't really make it into a sport particularly, can you? Duck feeding, yeah. Much. Feed the duck bread, don't they? Thank you for the 105 likes, everyone. Yeah, I don't really see how it can be a sport, to be fair. Yeah. You might as well say that stamp collecting is a sport. Hi, Sunflower. Favourite roles? I don't know what you mean, my favourite roles. Anyway, smash that like button, everybody. But what actually qualifies something as a sport then? Is the question. What is it that makes something a sport? Because you would think with a sport there has to be like a competitive element to it, right? Is what I would have thought anyway. Let's see, like, why is fishing a sport? Fishing is considered a sport because it requires intense physical exertion, complex technical skill, and competitive strategy. While recreational angling can be a relaxing pastime, sport fishing involves professionals competing in tournaments to catch specific quantities, sizes, or species of fish. So there's actual like competitions then. I'd say sports require some level of athletic activity. Well, some might argue that darts or snooker is a sport. Because this is the thing where it said, well, organisers use strict rules to level the playing field. Critics and recent scandals highlight real vulnerabilities in the sport. There's like the whole look of, unlike a running track or a swimming pool, a body of water is a dynamic environment that nobody can perfectly control. A sudden shift in wind, a passing cloud, or a school of fish moving a few hundred yards can completely change an angler's fortunes. Critics argue that even the most skilled angler in the world can lose simply because another competitor randomly cast their line into the exact spot where a massive fish happened to be swimming. So this is a problem with it, that there's luck. Yeah, it's like darts or snooker, because there's a certain kind of strategy to it where it's not so much about luck, because you sort of like create your own sort of like circumstances with that, depending on how good you are. Whereas with, like I said, with fishing, there's a lot of luck. It would be like considering, I don't know, like snakes and ladders. I mean, snakes and ladders can't be... Ah, crap. Why was that on? I had a tap running a bit. Best book I've ever read? I don't know, really. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really that big into reading books. I'm doing fine, thank you, Daryl. How are you doing? Yeah, so any that book I would say is more like a sport. But what you mean by athletic ability isn't just like in terms of your physical performance, but also things like So it could be something like proprioception or things like that, really. Or what else? You know, like coordination, balance, that sort of stuff. Cognitive abilities. But yeah, with fishing, it's just like, how can that be seen as a sport, really? Like competitive angling. I mean, it's just, chess is very competitive and doesn't rely on luck, but you don't have to be an above average athlete to excel in chess. Yeah. But it depends on what you mean by an athlete, I guess. Some might consider themselves as it's like a form of mental athletics or something, I don't know. Is there such a thing as mental athletics? Mental fitness? Because fitness comes down to like how good you are at carrying out a certain task. So you could argue that like you could say I'm literally playing mental gymnastics right now. No pun, well, pun intended. Athletics have to do with bodily coordination, strength, and endurance. So, yeah. I don't know, like, I guess, depending on your definition.
Hello, Otis, how you doing? Can you have mental athletics? We call it mind sports. So it's saying here bridge, drafts, yeah, what was it, chess, Go, bridge, and Chinese chess, memory sports, mental calculation, e-sport strategy. So because it's saying how the brain burns calories, and then you've got rigorous training, physical fitness matters. Most top-tier mental athletes maintain strict diet and cardio routines. A healthy cardiovascular system increases oxygen flow to the brain, which prevents mental fatigue during long matches. So there you go. So you still have to have some level of physical fitness even to do it, you could argue, because of the yeah, because I've heard that playing chess can be quite demanding on the brain when it gets to that level, to the competitive level. So I know somebody who plays chess, so they might have something to say about that, you know? And they might get offended if you say it's not a sport or something. No, I've not been to Germany now. I've only been to France and Spain. Thank you for the 110 likes, everyone. But I was expecting to be arguing about whether fishing is a sport today. That you never know what to expect on these lives, do you? Okay, thank you so much. But yeah, if anyone wants to support the channel, I do have PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee on my page, so just to let you know. Everyone alright? Welcome to the live. Yeah, being fit can help in chess, but it's not required. Hikaru Nakamura, Vasil
whatever that is. So many people they're not fit, but world-class chess players. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily necessary as long as you have a certain level to where you can not get mentally tired or whatever because you can't. But yeah, basically, yeah, it's not a necessity, is it? Amy Mulroy, thank you for subbing. But I think there is a benefit to exercise, even just in terms of. I saw this thing, have you heard of a thing called myokines? So like, when you contract skeletal muscle, you release something called myokines, which are said to help with reducing inflammation and things like that. So some argue that there can be a cognitive benefit to that as well. So that might help with improving things. I don't know if it can help with neuroplasticity or whatever. I mean, I don't know the whole thing about all that stuff, but but the fact is that yeah, that physical activity is said to help with improving mental stamina and things like that as well. So Stitch Rio plays games. How you doing? I hope you're well. But then it comes down to make somebody an athlete. Yeah, well, I did actually. I saw my mum at the bank holiday weekend. There was a music festival, so I stayed there for a couple of nights. Yeah. It's a shame I can't go down there more often. It's just because of like she's got her health and stuff going on, and she has like carers coming to like help her out and stuff, and sometimes they would come like in the morning and stuff, and it would just get a bit chaotic and stuff. But yeah, I don't know really, DC. Hi, Levi Douglas, or is it Levi? Or is it Levy? I don't know how you pronounce your name, but welcome to the live. Thank you for the 115 likes, everybody. Much appreciated. You can't make a pro-American football, baseball, basketball, or hockey team without being a very high-level athlete. Yeah, definitely. Hero Gaming. No, I'm from the UK. There were some people arguing that, like, you're not an athlete unless you're making money off it. I don't know, I think when you actually look at the definition of an athlete, like, it's just somebody who's very highly proficient in a certain sport or whatever. So, you could call yourself an athlete and not necessarily be... It's like when people say, oh, you have to be competing as a bodybuilder to call yourself a bodybuilder. That doesn't make sense. A bodybuilder is just a description of somebody who is someone who's building their body. You could argue that, yeah, someone's intentionally trying to add on size to their body, then they are a bodybuilder by definition, right? Just even if you're not making money directly from that, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a bodybuilder. Bodybuilder doesn't say that you have to be making money from that. That's just, it's like someone can call themselves an artist. Does that mean that they're necessarily making money from that? Not really. It could just be a hobby or something. They're an artist. That if it's professional, then you say professional artist or professional painter, drawer, or whatever, right? Yeah. FTP, what's that? Right. Oh yeah, no, some people pronounce it amateur, whereas I say amateur. I don't know, it's like depends where you're from. Some call it amateur. That's where some, yeah, it's amateur. Yeah, it's like I was talking with someone about how, you know, like different accents and stuff and different ways of pronouncing things. So thank you for the 116 likes, everybody. Much appreciated. Oh, FTP equals functional threshold power. It's roughly the amount of watts you can hold for an hour, right? Yeah. So remember we were talking about like the problem of like adding on too much muscle mass, where even muscle mass becomes dead weight beyond a certain point on a lot of athletic stuff, because if that muscle isn't, you know, being actively used, then it just creates a lot of dead weight. Hi Def, but how you doing? Well, this is the thing with like cycling, like your upper body isn't really being used that much. So then adding upper body muscle would be kind of useless, and actually, especially on the hills, I've seen that it's negligible on the flat because you're not going against gravity on the flat, but it becomes much worse when it comes to going up, especially up steep hills. Like I was watching this video on, have you seen a channel called Global Cycling Network, and they had some like, one of them they had a bodybuilder, another one they had like a strongman, and they were really struggling and they had to like stop halfway up because they just couldn't do it. Now, yeah, part of that's just because they haven't got the conditioning for it either, because that's not their sport. But even if they did condition for it, I reckon they'd still struggle. So all that extra weight. Yeah. Oh yeah, track cycling, that's where... Yeah, I've seen like with the velo cyclists, some of them are quite jacked actually, because they can just like use that to gain extra power, especially on like sprints that are only like a few laps. And they would, like some of them, like it's mostly lower body, but they even have a bit of like upper body size as well, some of them, because but they couldn't sustain that for like a very long time. So like you were saying, they couldn't sustain that pace. What's that? Special feeling on what you're doing about. Sorry. Is everybody alright then? Yeah, so I've seen many GCN videos. Some of the videos are good, but some are disguised advertisements. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? That they can sort of like... A lot of people do that, don't they, right? Where they design a video so that they can just shill some product, or just not necessarily shill, but they've got a new product out. It's like you'll get people like Greg Doucette, for example, where he'll design a video so that he can promote his, you know, Turk build or whatever, right? His Turkesterone. So it'd be like, oh yeah, so you can get like a sneaky ad for that in or something. And I don't know, if that stuff was really that good, don't you think that everyone would be using it, right? Like there'd be positive reviews flying everywhere, you would think, if it was such a good supplement that was, I don't know, that's my opinion anyway. But in my opinion, that's what would happen. Is that he would have loads and loads of, if he's claiming that it's better than creatine, then why isn't like everybody taking it? Why isn't the reviews just like everywhere? Because apparently there's a lot of people that have tried it and not really had any success with it. Supplements that actually work aren't legal. Which ones are they then? Well, I've got astaxanthin, which is well, that's legal, and that can help some people with like things like, well, it can help with your mitochondria and stuff, and help you to be more efficient with how you use your energy. Like it can help with burning fat more than carbs and stuff. So it can basically stop you from basically exhausting as quickly. You're able to sustain a higher power for longer. EPO anabolics. Oh yeah, I've heard about all that shit. That's not really something that people should probably be taking because there's a lot of harmful effects. You've got this thing called WADA, which is World, was it Anti-Doping Agency, whatever it's called, where they regulate that stuff to make sure that no one's cheating, like how Lance Armstrong was cheating to win the Tour de France and all that. And oh yeah, I've heard methadone. That's something that isn't that what they use to get off drugs or something, isn't it? Something like that. But some use like, what is it, baking soda. Have you ever used baking soda? I've heard you've got to be very careful with that because there's a lot of salt in it. But I've heard that some people might find like a sort of, like a temporary boost. Like, there's a certain window apparently where you have to like, get it right, where you just take it a certain amount of time before your race or something. You have to be careful because I've heard it can cause nausea and horrible side effects. No, I don't have super chats. To like talk about stuff in here, do I've heard the benefits of taking like baking soda are marginal and there are many possible side effects like vomiting. Yeah, those are. Yeah, it's supposed to help with like buffering the acidity because you've got basically like hydrogen ions produced from the lactate buildup, and it's said to help to buffer the hydrogen ions and buffer the acidity. So that's but there's things that you can take that are like beta-alanine, as well as also possibly stack that with citrulline as well, because that's no, that's not citrulline. Well, actually, citrulline is more the nitric oxide, I believe, but I think beta-alanine and what's the other one? Is it citrulline? No, not citrulline. I think citrulline's meant to help with. I've also heard that citrulline's supposed to help with ammonia as well, because I've heard that that's another byproduct that you want to try and get rid of. Some studies on baking soda showed no results. Even the ones that were positive didn't show much of a benefit. I'd rather simply become fitter. Yeah. But this is when people become fit, and then they're trying to get an extra edge over that. If you know what I mean. Rhino, you're doing up you well. Good to see you. What other ones is there? Which one? Oh yeah, baking soda is supposed to do the same thing as beta-alanine. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but you could take beetroot juice or whatever. I've heard that that's, but I've also heard that if you are very, very fit, then there's marginal benefits apparently. It apparently benefits more recreational athletes rather than you know, at world-class sort of level. Yeah. Obviously, yeah, your training should be the most important thing, but if there are certain things you can take to get a bit of an edge over, you know, like where you would have been. Oh yeah, yeah, I've heard about people using baking soda as a pre-workout. Does it actually work though? But although it would be, because if it said to help with like the lactic acid and stuff, then it might help you to be able to get a few extra reps out potentially. But I mean, advertising what? What are you talking about? My problem is that I'm inconsistent with cycling training. Yeah, beetroot juice does work. I've tried a few times. So have you actually tested it? Because it's supposed to give you about maybe 2-3% maybe of like a decrease in your time. But I also saw a thing on, I think it was on GCN, where they were talking about they was doing a test with the beetroot juice. But the problem is that they can't really prove it because there were different conditions on the day, and they actually found that it was even slower, but it was partially probably due to. But there's also speculation that, like I said, at that advanced sort of level that they're at, we're talking like elite level athletes. They're saying that there might not be that much benefit, and any benefit would be, like, say if it was like a 1% benefit, that would be hard to notice because other confounding variables might even, that'd be a lot of noise basically is what I'm saying, and it would be hard to see the, like to tell if it's actually, I mean, not scientifically tested beetroot juice, but I've noticed a lower heart rate and lower perceived effort for a given power output. Yeah, that's what this stuff that I've got is called astaxanthin. It's supposed to do a similar kind of thing, so it might be a good one to stack on top, but would they have actually found some scientific stuff on body squat performance, on like air squats, I mean, like these, where they found apparently in some study, I don't know how valid this is, but over a 6-month period, the placebo, I don't know if it was a placebo, but the group that didn't take it saw a 19% improvement, whereas the astaxanthin group saw a 55% improvement. So you can just take that with a pinch of salt, but there does seem to be some benefit on certain things, like they found like lower perceived effort. Heart rate was slightly lower at the same speed and stuff like that. So, hello, reluctant gamer, how you doing? Hope you're well. Yeah. Drinking beer, yeah, that's definitely not going to help, is it? Anyway, I'm going to get off for a bit, guys, but yeah, thank you all for stopping by. I'll be back shortly.